Hi, this is my presentation on self-efficacy, and here we go. So I took some ideas from all the different resources and kind of put my favorites together. Bandura was really interesting because I just learned so much from all these, everybody, but Bandura particularly. So personal efficacy is the beacon of self-influence. Basically, if you want to be an influential person, you need to be efficacious, which I thought was pretty interesting and very true. He also talked about self-efficacy helps one take risks, so great entrepreneurs tend to be efficacious. Folks that are willing to maybe take a financial risk and get the big payoff are great at self-efficacy as well. So that was kind of cool, and I could definitely see that. The more confident they are in their own skills, the more willing they are to try to take risks and know that they'll bounce back if there is an issue or they don't succeed. Reflections or coaching, when talking about education, he said should point out successes as well as improvements in order to correct deficiencies in a supportive way in order to strengthen self-efficacy, which I thought was a really great takeaway from his thoughts, particularly from the fact that he's not saying don't point out the things that need corrections, but first of all, let's be positive about it. Let's talk about some successes, and then correcting deficiencies based on your goals as a teacher, right? In a nice supportive way, and in order to strengthen your self-efficacy, which is great for a great coaching point for myself to try to get teachers to be more efficacious and realize how awesome they really are. He also gave a great example for job searches, right? When we train people to go out into the market and look for a job and interview for a job and write a resume, they feel much more confident and are much more successful in the task, whereas people who are untrained don't feel very confident and don't do as well and don't find the job as quickly or as easily. So very interesting. Ross and Gray also had some great points. I liked how they were talking primarily to principals and leadership in education. That was a nice change from Bandura's perspective. So principles influence the way teachers view themselves and their self-efficacy. So principals, you are important. You really do. Even principals that are shown to, not be maybe the best for that school or the best for those teachers, the teachers still do like your approval. They want the attaway or way to go boy or whatever the saying is. They kind of want that pat on the back from you because you're their boss, and 9 times out of 10 you've had more experience or a varied experience compared to their own experiences, and you do have something to offer them, which, if anything, it's a little boost of confidence. Principals should influence teacher interpretations of achievement data, which I thought was so great, and help teachers identify cause and effect relationships that link their actions to desired outcomes, which was such a profound statement, and I totally agree. I like the interpretations of achievement data, particularly because teachers might get their data and think, oh my gosh, this is awful, and then compared to the state average, their scores really aren't too bad. They're actually higher than the state, maybe. Or vice versa. They might get their scores and think, oh, this is great, or this is the student's fault, or, just different perspectives that they could take on the data. And I think it's great for leadership to sort of direct their perspectives. And then also, like, looking at cause and effect relationships between the data and what's happening in the classroom, linking to desired outcomes, which is obviously student achievement. So That was a really great statement. Principals need to grant teachers access to great professional development. I definitely agree with that. And provide constructive feedback on their skill acquisition. That goes right along with the 6 Secrets book, that it's our duty to provide and develop these teachers, to develop employees. When you love your employees, right, you develop them. And I like the providing constructive feedback on their skill acquisition. I feel like we in Brunswick County do a great job with the professional development and providing it, and sending folks places, and, doing what we can with the budget. In those regards, or bringing professionals in to get professional development. But I'm not so sure about the feedback and the skill acquisition. It would be awesome if there was some fidelity to that. Somebody goes off to a science conference, and so the principal says, hey, I want you to try something out that you saw at the science conference last month. Let me know a time I can come in and observe you trying your new thing that you walked away with. I think that would be amazing, and something that the teacher would really make note of and think, wow, the principal really thinks this was a valuable experience for me, rather than just signing off on the okay for me to go. Efficacy beliefs are most powerful when they're grounded in accurate self-appraisal, which I think is definitely true. This could go one way or the other. Some folks think that they are more awesome than they really are. Maybe in physics or something. Just kidding. But they also, most times teachers don't realize how awesome they are, and how effective they really are. And I think that we need to help guide their efficacy. The teacher surveys were pretty awesome. I really was just thinking, like, wow, I would love to give the teacher survey to teachers, to really see how efficacious they are. I thought it was really interesting. One of the things that was said on the survey site was that teachers that spent voluntary time with their students were more efficacious, which makes sense, because when you're spending your own time working really, really hard with kids, you feel quite confident in your own skills and the skills of the students even. So in thinking of giving this, I would really love for teachers to be able to do it anonymously, because I feel like then they would be really honest about it. But if they were anonymous, I wouldn't be able to give follow-up to those who maybe needed some help with their efficacy. So that's a conundrum. I'm not really sure what to do about that, but I'm taking suggestions. So my thoughts, I've really learned a lot from this. I love this idea, and I think as a coach it's just right up my alley on things to assist teachers with that they may not even know that I'm assisting them with, which is great. I really reflected through this process of learning. The teacher survey, like I said, I really would like to try that, and maybe a 10-questioner or something simple, to see how they feel about their teaching and their effect on students, which is pretty profound, we all know. And then also I did come out with a possible research thought, and this may exist or not, but I thought about speaking with Dr. Garrett Dickers about this, and that while going through the self-efficacy, I thought, well, if I'm in a bad mood one day, or, had a bad day, or whatever the case may be, I think I would score differently. I don't feel as worthy and, confident necessarily from day to day as I might on a different day where I'm feeling awesome, which is definitely directly related to hormone level. I know this as a biologist, right? So I thought, I wonder if a woman's response on a self-efficacy quiz ebbs and flows with their hormone cycles and levels. So that is something interesting. Someone may have already done that research, but maybe somebody didn't. And that's something to think about for the future. So thanks for this, and that is the end. Here are my references, and I will continue to be efficacious.